These three right here are from the time that I was in the Black Panther Party and worked for the on the newspaper. Let it shine, let it shine. The rising cost of grocery and the People's Free Food Program. That one on top is an original that traveled with me for 50 years. Lord knows why it traveled with me, but it did. And I guess it was for such a time as this. And then that one on the end also is an original that traveled with me for 50 years. These four on the bottom, they're the images, as you can see, that I did during the time when I was in the Black Panther Party. But I call myself upgrading it for today. And I was going to make postcards out of it, and I was going to give it to people so that they can send to their Congress people. And I couldn't get it together. But anyway, those are they're the original postcards updated for today, because the comment back then is the same today. It just looks a little different. Like when we were talking about poor quality housing, we were talking about how the quality of housing was kept up. There's rats, there's roaches, there's rats, there's roaches, there's deterioration of the physical structure. Today, not only is it that, but now we have tent encampments. There were no tent encampments of people that had lost their housing for one reason or another that I saw during that time on where I was situated, which was in Oakland, California. And I came from Seattle down to Oakland, even though I was born and raised in Oakland. So the postcards are repurposed, but they're saying the same thing. We still have these issues, and we still need to survive, because during that time it was survival pending revolution. We need to survive until we are able to bring about that change. And when I say we, I mean the people, the masses of people. When we can organize to the point where we can make mass change, absolute change, flip over change, from an uncaring environment to a caring environment. That's what we were doing back then. That's what we're doing now. As we come more modern.
What period is this?
So these are all in the 2000s. Sandra Bland, hashtag Sandra Bland speaks. Black Lives Matter. I was in Napa, California, and they were lifting the pandemic ban with restaurants, and the restaurants were now allowing you to sit outside. And there was this crowd around us. Not around us, but, to the side, to the left over there. And we were questioning, what's going on over there? Because I didn't see any black people, And what we saw was people, I think this was also during the time of the George Floyd. I have to look at the date, but if it wasn't George Floyd, it was such mass protest that was going on around Black Lives Matter, because it was to the forefront how we were being murdered on the street for nothing, And but what I found was interesting is it was not black people that were putting up these placards. And so I didn't do faces, but I wanted people to see that Black Lives Matter was a concern, not just of black people. And what I did with the placards is that there are placards behind. I put memory that I wanted people to have of history and ideas, speak truth to power. Remember Ida B. Wells, she was protesting lynching. The lynching today is state-sanctioned police killing Black people for reaching for their ID in their car, for asking, why are you stopping me? Or vigilantes like Trayvon Martin. And so I wanted to bring the past and present, show the parallel of the past and the present at the same time. So that's why, and I took a picture of the event, and then just like, I don't know how those drawings followed me 50 years. I don't know how that picture was, oh no, it was in my phone. And for some reason, my phone was on the floor and I was going over to pick it up. And I kept trying to figure out who did that picture? I like that picture. Who did that picture? And I saw it was the photograph that I had taken. So I just cropped it to show that. So that was the story behind that one. The rest is about memory. In the United States, Alzheimer and dementia is on the increase. And in America, we have the largest amount of Alzheimer, dementia, illness affecting people. Now, of course, they're saying it's because we're aging, and so everybody's going to get Alzheimer and dementia. Don't believe the hype, in my opinion, because it is a humble opinion. But these came about as we started hearing about books being burned in Florida and being eliminated and wiped out. And then Black artists, the film 13, the book about critical thinking, 1619, all of this stuff being banned. So that's memory. And African American history is American history. And so this is my motivation for doing these drawings, because this is history and it tells of a continuum in our history. This is part of a larger project that I'm still in process of completing. These two, Ida B. Wells Barnett and Ella Baker, are about the empowering voice of women, African American women in history. Everybody needs to know American history, the good, the bad, the ugly. Because if you just look at it on a personal level, when I recognize my mistakes, my errors in life, as well as my successes, on the bad things, I'm not holding guilt in, I'm not holding shame in. I put it out there. Can't nobody come at me and say, well, you know, you did this and you were like that and you were this and that and the other. And I'm like, I know that truth. What you trying to say? You trying to make me feel bad? You know, I've already been there, done that. I got that T-shirt, you know. And so it's like we need history and we don't need to be afraid of it. And so this is my way of documenting it. And the other one in the middle is George Floyd. That was my emotional responding to it. I call that spirit revealed. It's just, that's what came out. It's like how the spirit puts things together. So after I finished drawing it, I said, well, it was in response to that. And so I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting. And somebody asked, well, what you going to title it? I'm like, Stand, because that's what she's doing. There's a gospel song that tells you to stand. When you've done everything, by Andre Crouch. When you've done everything that you can do, You just stand. Be still for a minute. And then a friend of mine sent me this photograph months ago. And I was looking at the photograph. I said, oh my God, that's what this woman is doing. She's standing up against this colossal with weapons and helmets and gear. And she's casually smoking a cigarette, got her purse, Sunday go to meeting purse in her arm, and she's standing against them. So the message I'm sending is for us to stand. We don't have to be afraid. We don't have to be guilt, shame. Stand. It's okay. It's okay. That's just me. I don't know if the picture says all that, but that's just me. You know, the relevancy of my work, past to present, and hopefully the future, is that the issue that I'm dealing with is not just poverty or women's issue or some other identity politic issue. The issue is an unchanging universal truth. What is caring? What is justice? What is it to be in harmony, even if you're a part of a disparate group? Black Lives Matter. We were in harmony, balance. Those are still our issues. And they're going to be our issues from here on out. It's how do we move from the imbalance that is so extreme and getting more and more extreme? How do we move from that imbalance to balance? How do we move from uncaring to caring? You throw toilet paper to people who are suffering from earthquakes and floods, or do you care? Do you make it possible for recovery? How do you care on a personal level? You know, how do you care for yourself on a personal level? You hear people now, go meditate, go get a back rub, go get some chiropractic stuff going, get some acupuncture going, take meds, How do you care for yourself? And if you care for yourself, if you love yourself, it's easier to love your neighbor. And if you love your neighbor, then you're showing care and love for the mass, And so underneath everything that I've done and I do is that. No matter how it translates out on paper, I probably am saying it wrong, Guinea, African Adinkra symbol, which I've started using in my now more recent paintings. That's what it's all about. These values that are unchanging, these values that are caring. So in terms of the legacy, that's what we were doing back then. Survival, pending revolution, pending change. We were caring about people. When Bobby Seale ran for mayor of Oakland and Elaine Brown for city council, we said we're going to put a chicken in every bag and we're going to register 10,000 people to vote because you have a right to vote and you can vote. It's okay. And so that's what we did. We put out 10,000 bags of grocery. We registered 10,000 people to vote, our right to vote. We were putting out symbols, actions, words of caring. And we were saying, we are not the ones to replace. It's the ideas, the concept that we're trying to replace. Now, this is just me talking. You speak to some others that are been in there longer than me. They're going to tell you this, that, and the other. But I think you will see a parallel to what I'm saying, And it's about, I'm going to use that really horrible 4-letter word, love. It's about love. How do you love your neighbor if you don't love yourself? How do you love folks around you and show it? I hear and I see Oh, our young people. Oh, woe is me. Oh, lament, 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 lament. But I've had an opportunity to be around some young people that a lot of history has not been presented to them, and they're eager, they're curious, they're hungry, they want the history, they want to know, they want to bring about a change. They are aware that a change is going to come and is needed to come, and they're eager. And then I heard a 2024 speech by the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr.'s only granddaughter. And she was speaking at the National Cathedral, and I tell everybody, Google it and listen to her. She's 15 or 16 years old. And she is talking in this vibrant, and she said, we are the generation of change. But she says revolution. We are the revolution. And I'm just so inspired by this 15-year-old. And we have young people who are writing books and articles and doing their PhDs and yada, yada. And so I'm inspired by the young people for the future. But I know at the same time, there's a group of young people that makes you wonder. But let me tell you a little personal story. When I was in high school, if you asked me what was going on politically in the world, I was in la la land. I probably didn't even understand the word politics. I graduated in '66. And something happened between that time and 1969 that can be labeled as a cultural revolution. And I began to know who I was as a Negro, colored person, Negro, Afro-American, Black person, African American. I began to know who I was. And I began to know that I had a history, and I became a voracious feeder on books and records. And you had women, Sonia Sanchez, Nikki Giovanni, Sarah Fabio, who was my English teacher. You know, it was like the digital media today. It was just through osmosis. It was just in the air. It just permeated the air. And it put me on more of a direct path that led me to the Black Panther Party, and why I have the view that I have today, the thinking that I have today. I have a lot of hope for the future. I just feel bad that they have to deal with the present that we have, but I have a lot of hope for our future.